here. We have a packed crowd, I see. We have a quorum here, and I will ask one of the best, if not the best, Academy Academy coach, Jacob Glancy, to come lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Glancy. We will start with 30 seconds in my district. Dr. Gentry, would you like to start that?
Sure. Had a chance to read at Churchwell Elementary and encountered a little second grader, and we got into writing books. And she said, so teacher says, tell her what you want to do when you grow up. She goes, I want to be a minister. I said, I said, well, what's the title of your book going to be? So everybody else had different titles. Her title of her book was Filling My Bucket. And I asked her, well, filling your bucket with what? She says, helping people understand that you should fill your bucket with love and with kindness. So that sustained me for the rest of that week. And now it's budget season. Yay.
Nothing. Ms. Brogue?
So there is a bill that is moving through the legislature to arm teachers in classrooms. It recently passed through the Civil Justice Subcommittee and is expected to be on next week's calendar in the Civil Justice Committee. I wrote a Facebook post asking the public to get engaged on this bill, and without any promotion, that Facebook post reached 60,000 people, so this issue obviously touched a nerve. No matter what you think about guns, arming teachers in classrooms is a very dangerous proposition. I'd encourage folks to contact their representatives to express opposition to this bill, and I would also like to bring notice of a resolution to oppose arming teachers in classrooms. I'll bring that resolution at our next meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Pinks?
Yeah, I've been remiss in not giving a shout out to Bookham, which a couple of weeks ago organized a stellar Read Me Week event at Glenview Elementary in my district. Dr. Gentry was there, Dr. Joseph was there, and a cast of thousands, it seemed. And Bookham just does such a great job bringing a unique focus on literacy and reading. So thanks to everybody who was involved in that, and shout out to the Glenview community, pardon me.
Thank you. Over the last 5 years, the Academies of Nashville have hosted over 4,000 educators from across the U.S., Scotland, and the U.K. Last week, I attended the tours that were at Maplewood and Hunters Lane, and the ambassadors that led those tours were just amazing. They were articulate, they were thoughtful, and they were very professional. So I wanted to shout out to Donna Gilley and Star Herman for their work in this.
Ms. Hunter?
Yes, there will be a community meeting on March 22nd at King Ridge Elementary School. That meeting time has changed to 6:30 p.m. And at that time, we will be discussing some conversions for King Ridge Elementary School and Antioch Middle School students due to the overcrowding at Antioch Middle School. Thank you.
Ms. Pierce?
So this week, I think you saw the best part of last week was the Into the Woods performance at Hillsborough High School. And also want to give a shout out to the girls lacrosse team at Weston Middle for starting off the season with a win over Harding Academy this week.
Thank you. I, too, attended the Academy tour at McGavock High School last week, and Star Herman and Donna Gilley are hardworking around that work that we have in our schools, and all the Academy coaches, including Mr. Glancy, who's here tonight with the McGavock students, they do a remarkable job, and I'm so appreciative for them to them for that. And one more thing, I wanted to say congratulations to the McGavock Wind Ensemble, who last week achieved superior ratings in both stage performance and sight reading at the MTS BOA performance held at MTSU. It was grade 5 literature, so it was really challenging for them. So congrats to them. And now we'll move on to the and the good news is portion of our agenda. And first, we have on board our students, and we have 4 student ambassadors from McGavock High School.
having us this evening. We're really excited to be here. As you see, there's 3, not 4. Another student had a conflict this evening that just came up suddenly. So thanks for having us. I want to introduce you to our 3 of our student ambassadors: Maya Herod in the Animal Science pathway at McGavick, Addison McLean in the Aviation Flight pathway, and Sammy Webster in the Design Communications pathway. And so we're just going to go down the line. They've got great stories to tell.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Maya Herod. I'm a junior in the Animal Science pathway in the Academy of Life Science and Law. I'm an FFA member, a varsity cheerleader, student council secretary, best buddy secretary, and I'm also a student on the McGavick Coalition board. I am grateful that I've had the opportunity to go to McGavick High School and be a part of all the many things that McGavick has had to offer. This year has been great for me. McGavick's FFA earned one of the only national 10 Model of Excellence Awards, and our student council is on its 7th or 8th State Platinum Award. I just got done organizing and conducting a canned food drive with McGavick and our cluster schools, and in total we raised over 2,200 cans to donate to our local food pantries, including Two Rivers Food Pantry. One of my favorite opportunities that we got to do as animal science students was hosting our 2nd annual fall festival for our community, where we put posters all over the school and we told everybody in our community about what was happening. And on October 7th, people flooded McGavick High School wanting to know what's going on with our farm. They wanted to meet our alpacas, goats, chickens, anything that you guys think that we have it. And we also have a new member of our Raider Ranch, Ferdinand the Mini Bull. And so that was a big hit for a lot of kids. They also enjoyed our face painting, and we also did a goldfish game where they were able to win live goldfish. I am so excited to be able to do this again next year, and I'm looking forward to it, and we're already making plans to make it bigger and better than it was this year.
Thank you, Maya.
Hi, my name is Addison McLean. I'm also a junior, and I'm in the aviation flight pathway. And ever since I've been little, I've always had a love for aviation. I would dress as Amelia Earhart. Anytime I had a school project, I would do it over her. She's just someone I really look up to, and it's something that really brought me into aviation. Another part of this is in 8th grade, I originally went to a school that was in a different district, and my science teacher, we worked with NASA, so she also knew McGavick worked with NASA. She came and she talked to me, and she told me about the flight program there. And I also learned about it through a summer program. I was looking them up, and I saw McGavick. So at the time, I moved in with my dad, and I was like, you got to listen. I really want to go to McGavick. This is something I really look forward to. And I talked to him, and finally, he listened. So we moved to the Hermitage area, and I was able to attend McGavick. And ever since I've attended McGavick, I'm part of the Nashville Flight Training Student Advisory Board, which and then led me to become a member of the IMC Nashville chapter. And once a month we meet up and we talk about different types of meteorological problems that has to do with flight. And not only that, but it's really just a network of people and pilots who are like-minded to share information. Another part of this is my AP dual credit and honors classes help set up a foundation to further my career in aviation, to harden my foundation and really set me up for my future. Thank you.
Thank you, Addison.
Hello. My name is Sammy Webster, and I'm a senior at McGavick High School. I'm in the CMT Academy of Digital Design and Communications. And throughout my high school career, I have had the opportunity to take AP and ACE classes. And I've maintained a 4.2 GPA while doing so. Taking these classes have helped me be proactive and just getting what I want. And by doing so, I've secured an internship at the Country Music Television at the end of March, and I'm very happy about doing that. However, the most impactful thing in my high school career hasn't come through my academy or anything in that nature. It actually hasn't happened yet. Tomorrow, on March 14th at 10 a.m. during PLT, I'm a part of a national walkout in light of gun violence around the country. I've had the opportunity. Thank you. I've had the opportunity to work closely with our principals, some students, and some teachers to work closely on this matter. My notes went down. Yep. We've chosen to take a stance, and as students, I feel like that's a very big deal. We have voices, and we're told to use them, but we're never told how. And I feel like by doing so, we're showing other students around the nation, we're showing adults that have had a voice for many years and how to use it. I think it's great to have a high GPA, be labeled smart. Hopefully consider myself to be all those things, but it's so much more meaningful and impactful to stand for something. And when you stand for something, other people stand behind you, because as a leader, people want to follow you. And by doing so, you fight for something you believe in, you fight for a cause, and you fight in memory of the people who've lost their lives. And that's something I'm very excited about, and something that I've counted myself blessed to find in my senior year of high school. I thank you for letting me talk, and I hope that you all, everyone in this room, finds something to fight for to improve the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Sammy.
Good job.
Ms. Pierce has already talked to us about the wonderful work of the Hillsborough High School Theater Group, and we got to witness their performance. And so now Ms. Spearing will talk about Dan Mills' artwork.
Thank you. Last fall, Dan Mills started a journalism club. It's for 2nd through 4th grade students, and it's been so amazing to watch these students work and share news and information. The students are learning about layout, design, and writing, and the newsletter is 99% of the students' ideas. They include spotlighting various teachers, events. There's even April Fool jokes in one of them, and I hope you will take the opportunity. The work is on display to my right against the wall. So I hope you'll take an opportunity to look at those beautiful writings and artwork that the students are doing at Dan Mills. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to awards and recognitions. Our students, and Dr. Joseph.
Thank you so much. First, I'd like to acknowledge the winning school of our Summer Reading Challenge. So tonight, we'd like to recognize and celebrate Nashville Classical Charter School for making reading and literature the foundation of its instructional model. As a result of its focus on literacy, Nashville Classical won the Nashville Public Library's Summer Reading Challenge last year and produced some of the best third grade reading scores in its first year of TN Ready. And the school was named the city's best nonprofit of 2017 by the Nashville Business Journal. So I think all three deserve a round of applause. Nashville Classical is an extremely diverse school, and they celebrate their diversity, and they're proud of how they're pushing children to achieve their goals. Starting in kindergarten, students at Nashville Classical learn about reading and literature through the exposure of great books, and I love that as a reading specialist and former English teacher. Great books are a great way to really challenge and push youth. Please welcome Charlie Friedman, who is the founder and principal of the school, and we want to thank him for all that he's doing to instill a love of reading for every student in our schools.
Thank you. Good evening. Just very briefly, wanted to say thanks so much for recognizing not just us, but the 400 young people that go to our school who work incredibly hard, not just to develop a love of reading, but a mastery of standards. Our hope is that we can share anything that has happened inside of our building with schools and children across the city so that the same love of reading and mastery of standards that's occurred in our classrooms can occur across the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next, we have a state champion wrestler, Gabrielle Neal, and Coach Michael Scott. So wrestling is a sport of balance, strength, leverage, grit, endurance, determination, and pride. It takes an abundance of all of those skills and characteristics to compete at the highest level. This evening, we are extremely pleased to recognize a state champion, Gabrielle Neal of Cane Ridge High School.
All right.
Wrestling is also a sport of technique and motivation, so we're also to honor her coach, Michael Scott. So in Tennessee, high school girls wrestling is not separated into divisions. There's only one state champion in each weight class. Gabby is that state champion after dominating the state championship match. Dominating. I love it. Dominating. I mean, she ain't just win. You know. She also was named the Penn TN Girl Wrestler of the Year and was a member of the Team Tennessee, where she was named an All-American this past summer. So we want to congratulate Gabby and congratulate Coach Scott. And I see we have the proud principal here as well of Cane Ridge. So would you like to introduce Gabby or say anything before she speaks?
Yes, I'm going to have Coach Scott again just congratulate Miss Gabby Neal, but we do want to thank you for recognizing our students' accomplishments in every facet that they achieve this award. But I do want to, we're so excited. This is our 10th year anniversary at Cane Ridge High School, our 8th year that we've had classes 9 through 12. Gabby is our first state champion wrestler, and it's so exciting that it's a female. So we're excited that she's providing the foundation, and I'm going to introduce Coach Scott, and thank you for the other team members that also qualified for the state tournament.
Oh, yes. Very good.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez, and thank you, board. Dr. Joseph, you did a great job of explaining wrestling in one division, and we can talk about Gabby's accolades, but really who she is as a person is so much more than just a wrestler. She got a 21 on her ACT. She's got a 3.4, a grade point average. And all of that is really great too, but the love that she has for her peers, the love that she has for her teammates, the love that and absolute support. So guys go on a wrestling tournament, we got to be there at 7 a.m. Guess who's with us? Gabby is. It doesn't matter if she's wrestling. It doesn't matter if she's not wrestling. She is there lifting people up. And I tell you what, when I started this, I never thought I was going to be a wrestling coach. And I'm like, okay, this sounds really great. And then I walk into practice and I got a girl. And I'm like, what's going on? And so the second day of practice, she pulls me aside and she says, Coach, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, I've already messed up. Uh-oh. So she says, hey, don't treat me like a boy. Treat me as a wrestler. I said, I wasn't planning on it, but have I yet? And she said, no. And so from that point on, we had a trust and a bond that has just grown over time. And I've become a better person, a better coach. And I just want to say thank you to Gabby, and she deserves every single award, every single recognition that she gets. And she is just an outstanding person on and off the mat. So thank you.
Gabby's Guns. Did y'all hear that? Hashtag Gabby's Guns.
Yeah, Gabby's Guns. Yeah, they're bigger than mine.
That's not going to happen. That would be convenient. Very. We will now move on to our community with public participation. The board will hear from those persons who have requested to appear at this board meeting. In the interest of time, speakers are requested to limit remarks to 3 minutes or less, and comments will be timed by Ms. Bobo. And if you would please look at the screens around the room and see where you are in the lineup, and please start lining up so we can get everybody heard tonight. Thank you. The first person is Mary Jo Cram.
Hi, I'm an MNPS teacher, and I'm here today to speak as a parent. My son Kogan is a student at Ross Early Learning Center. He's truly thrived there. Because of the experience he's had at Ross, I know that he's going to be ready for kindergarten. And I was looking forward to sending his brother, Ryan, there when he's old enough. That's why I was so disappointed to hear about the sliding scale fee the district is introducing for the ELCs next school year. When I looked at the sliding scale and saw what my family would be expected to pay, I was absolutely dismayed. Our family's childcare costs will almost double at exactly the time we were expecting them to practically disappear. I feel an intense moral obligation as a parent to provide the same opportunities for both of my children, but it breaks my heart that might not be possible. So I started a petition to save our free universal preschool program. I'm here to present that petition to the board. 133 Nashville citizens are asking the board to submit a budget to the city council that includes funding for free universal preschool with no sliding scale fees. And we're asking city council to fund every dime of that budget. We believe that imposing a sliding scale fee on a previously free universal preschool program will go against what I think everyone in this room believes about early childhood education. It is not just a luxury for rich kids. It is not something that only poor and disadvantaged children benefit from. Preschool is an essential part of a basic education that all children deserve. That means the school district has a moral obligation, if not a legal one, to provide it free of charge for all children. Our funding should match our beliefs about the purpose of the program. Families depend on free universal preschool. We planned our lives and our families around it. We decided when we're going to have children, where we're going to move, what jobs we're going to take, based on the expectation that this program would continue to be free. I know the budget this year is tight. I know there's just not enough money for everything we want to do. But even though the money is so scarce, this program still deserves priority because it represents nothing less than the future of the district. One of the reasons the budget is tight is because the district is losing students. But this incredibly popular program, free universal preschool, it's attracting exactly the population that the district is losing. So it would be really short-sighted if the district would impose fees on a program that would otherwise help to attract and retain these students in the long term. Thank you.
Thank you. Call for your bills.
Dr. Joseph, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Carl Anthony Feblis. I'm the executive principal at J.E. Moss Elementary School in Antioch. I want to thank you for this opportunity to share with you the importance and success of the Reading Recovery Program at J.E. Moss. J.E. Moss is in its third year of implementation of Reading Recovery, and it has shown accelerated growth. We have Reading Recovery has served over 193 students. 85% of those have been EL students. Reading Recovery is an early intervention program in first grade and provides opportunity for this accelerated growth. The goal of the program is to move students from their current level of reading to on grade level reading, and usually that requires about 1.5 years worth of growth in about 20 weeks. Our data from last year in Reading Recovery showed that our students in Reading Recovery grew at well over 1.5 years worth of growth in those 20 weeks. Not only does Reading Recovery data show that there's acceleration, but our other metric for that, text level assessments by Foundas and Pinnell, are also showing accelerated growth. Last year's data showed a 28% increase over the previous year. And this year, we're showing an even greater increase. We are now at mid-year point where we were at the end of last year in our first grade reading achievement. The impact of the program is very popular with the parents. They are talking about increased confidence in their children's reading. They like reading now. In fact, I'd like to read to you a statement from one of our first graders. She stated, "I feel like I'm a smart girl, and I like the books. I like reading books. I'm a smart reader. A smart reader is when something goes wrong, I can go back and fix it." This is in direct response to the reading recovery students' instruction that the students receive. Traditionally, over 60% of MOS students come to first grade below grade level. This is not unique to J.E. Moss. This is endemic throughout the district. Strong classroom instruction coupled with an intervention program like Reading Recovery is just the recipe to help these struggling readers. In conclusion, we ask that you consider not only keeping the Reading Recovery as an intensive intervention plan for these readers, we also ask that you consider expanding this successfully proven strategy for reaching first graders. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm Dr. Eric Huth, President of the Metropolitan Nashville Education Association. I actually want to address you on several matters this evening. The first one being the Memorandum of Understanding. We're anxious to go ahead and get the memorandum behind us. We've been working on it since January of last year, if you don't count the time that we spent trying to get the vote to pass in order to enter into the process. It was a long process. There were apparently some breakdowns in communication to the administration and the board from various points, and you apparently just found out about the monetary issues late in the process. I do want to make a few notes about some things that Deborah Story said earlier in the Budget Committee meeting. She talked about the increase of exception pay from $25 to $45. That's a $20 an hour increase. She said it would cost $3 million. The discussion that we had was that there was an acknowledgement at the table that if it was implemented, there would likely be a reduction in the number of hours that were bought that way. We believe that the professional development and the salary issue are important efforts for you to help fill the classrooms in Nashville. If you try to tie the holiday pay, if you think of the holiday pay not in isolation, but as part of the salary recommendation, you could actually fund that $1.9 million and give that pay increase and affect the ultimate result of what people make in the year. So don't look at it necessarily in isolation. In addition to the MOU, I'd like to make a few comments about the salary plan or the salary recommendations. Two things that I noticed, one that were pretty glaring to me. I did think that the analysis for the teachers was pretty good. There are clearly some problems elsewhere in the salary schedule. I know that the study focused on the disparity problem going to EDSSI, but there at no place in there did it talk about the problem with the coordinator pay scale. That pay scale is ridiculous. If you are a classroom teacher in Nashville and you go from being a classroom teacher to being a coordinator on the certificated administrator payroll, you actually take a daily rate pay cut. Your pay goes down, but you work half an hour longer. So that's something that needs to be looked at, not in connection with the entire pay scale. Also, in the support schedule, there's no talk about reclassification, and I think you need to look at some jobs that need to be reclassified. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Teresa Wagner?
Good evening, Chairwoman Shepherd, Dr. Joseph, and members of the board. My name is Teresa Wagner, and I'm a 20-year veteran teacher in MNPS, currently assigned to Apollo Middle School and Vice President of MNEA. Columbine, Colorado, Sandy Hook, New Jersey, Parkland, Florida. These are locations that we as educators cannot get out of our minds. They represent 3 of the most horrific school massacres in which a total of 56 innocent lives were taken. Whenever such events occur, there is always a knee-jerk reaction by some lawmakers to attempt to arm teachers. This is occurring now in our own state capitol. I come before you tonight to urge you to pass Board Member Froeg's resolution against arming teachers in our schools. In Nashville, we're blessed to have SROs in our schools. These are men and women of the Metro Nashville Police Department who do so much more than just protect our students from acts of violence. These SROs get to know the students and their families. They set an example for our students in each school, and they set expectations high for all. These brave men and women show their love for our students on a daily basis, and our schools are safer and more enriched by their presence. We also have a well-trained and devoted school security department that works tirelessly to ensure that everyone is safe in all of our schools through routine searches and a wide variety of trainings. No one can guarantee 100% security in any situation. Even the Secret Service fails from time to time. But Nashville schools are as safe as can be reasonably expected in a district of our size. Even with the training that has been discussed, teachers have far too much on their plates to achieve a level of competency that approaches that of a trained law enforcement agent. Our legislators need to know that our elected school board representatives are opposed to any legislation that makes it possible for more lethal weapons to get into our schools, and I'm calling on you to send them that message. I would also like to thank Dr. Joseph and this board and other MNPS administrators for understanding the need to support our students as they grow and become more invested in our democracy. Providing guidance and allowing students to organize and participate in national initiatives following the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting supports one of the fundamental responsibilities of public schools in the development of civic-minded citizens. I look forward to seeing our own Apollo students participating in their planned activity tomorrow. And Amy didn't ask me to do this. I didn't even know about her resolution until earlier. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mary Elizabeth Lomax.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Joseph. My name is Mary Lomax. This is my son, Connor, who has also given permission to speak before you. I'm here tonight to speak to you about the elimination of free access to pre-K early learning centers across our county. I am extremely disappointed about this change, which not only affects my family, but many across our great county. Learning that this change has been handled in a way that has blindsided so many families concerns me. I also find it surprising that this change was made and then announced only 2 weeks before the enrollment period began. I am curious to know how a decision as significant as this one can be made with so little public knowledge. Additionally, because this change, sorry, I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm very pregnant. Additionally, because this change has not been announced a year or so in advance, there is not even enough time for many families to try and save for this unexpected expense. I have come to understand that a federal grant has expired, but if this was on the horizon for the state and for metro schools for budgeting, why was this not addressed more than a year ago? My question is, how will charging tuition provide access and equity when these fees are out of reach for so many families? Last year, Connor attended an ELC, and the curriculum used was paramount to his cognitive development and social-emotional development. By attending an ELC, he was in a much better position starting kindergarten. I think that can be said of the majority of children who spend a year in the quality pre-K program. So, Connor, do you want to speak at all about your time at pre-K? Yeah. Okay. Do you remember your project-based learning studies? Yeah. Buildings, tubes and tunnels, exercise, and musical instruments? What was your favorite one and why?
Music studies.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the learning centers?
Yeah.
And your solution kit? What did that do for you, the solution kit?
I always take timers to play with toys.
And you learned to solve conflict. You also learned to write your name. You developed your fine motor skills. Would you say you enjoyed your time at pre-K?
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm asking you, the school board, to revisit this change and let me know how, as a public school parent and pre-K advocate, we can work towards a solution in reversing this unexpected and unfortunate change to fee-based pre-K ELCs. I believe the ELCs deserve priority to attract students and families. Thank you for your time.
Jill Mothershed?
Good evening, Board and Dr. Joseph, and thank you. My name is Jill Mothershed, and I have been a reading recovery teacher at Norman Binkley Elementary for the past 3 years. In reading recovery, as you heard earlier, we work with the lowest readers and writers in first grade. Every day we have a 30-minute lesson where our goal is to accelerate the students' learning and exit them on grade level within 20 weeks. Over the past 3 years as a reading recovery teacher, I have tutored close to 30 children individually. Many of my students at Norman Binkley are English learners. Their parents are often not fluent in English. The fact that any student exits in such a short time is powerful enough, but that we can exit most of our English learners is beyond impressive. These children are learning to speak a second language while they are also learning how to read and write and using the same curriculum as Gen Ed students. Reading recovery teachers also work with small groups of struggling readers, not only in first grade, but in kindergarten and second grade too. Last year, through my group work and my conversations with a new kindergarten teacher, I noticed that she needed and wanted guidance on how to become a better, more effective literacy teacher. This year, the reading recovery model changed, so I began collaborative coaching in her class. In this model, I am mentoring her in her literacy block, as well as modeling best practices. We meet weekly to plan instruction and set goals for her students, and her success has been remarkable to the point where admin has noticed and thanked me for the work we have done together. Literacy is the foundation of all learning. I applaud MNPS for acknowledging this and for investing and standing by the programs that support this. As the research shows, an illiterate populace is a drain on society. It is costly, burdensome, and puts our democracy at risk. Reading recovery is a preventative measure, catching our students before they fail, and it is making a difference at a time when learning to read and write is crucial, because after first grade, the content gets more demanding, and the student who is behind will get further behind, with little chance of ever catching up unless preventative measures like reading recovery are provided. I leave you with real examples. Student 1 exited the reading recovery program and entered into third grade well above grade level. So when I found out he had moved into another state, I was relieved and happy to know he would be okay. Student 2 came into the program speaking little English, but exited the program and is now in Ignite and excelling in math and science. In closing, thank you for your service to our schools and our district and for your continued support of reading recovery. Thank you.
John Hovenreich.
Dr. Joseph and members of the board, my name is John Hovenreich. I'm a Metro Schools parent and also a parent of a son who hopefully will be in pre-K in the fall. I have a couple of comments I wanted to give you tonight about the state of our budgeting and the budget process, understanding that there'll be subsequent public hearings. Was there for our first one tonight, and hopefully I'll be back for the next ones. Dr. Joseph, I actually wrote something down that you said during the hearing. You told us, until we get a state funding system that adequately funds education in this state and in this city, we're going to have problems. And that's something I wholeheartedly agree with. I've noted from emails with several of you board members and looking at some statistics and reports, MNPS is ranked 54th out of 67 urban school systems in America for per pupil funding. That's something that needs to be unacceptable to everyone, and I believe it is unacceptable to you all here on the board. I guess the crux of my comments are that I believe that equity is absolutely crucial across our district, and that is one of the most important goals that we should have, but it should not come at the expense of other students in the district. We should not be pitting schools against schools or students against students. We should be expanding the resource pie so that everybody can get the resources that they need. So how do we do that? Obviously, we have issues with funding from the state, and I understand MNPS has signed on to a lawsuit about the BEP. Fully support that. More importantly, Metro Council, and I made some notes here. We have 4 members of Metro Council who serve on both the Budget and Finance Committee as well as the Education Committee. Anthony Davis, Steve Glover, Russ Pulley, and Tanaka Vercher. I know Councilmember O'Connell is here as well, so hopefully he'll join me in talking to those folks on the council. I can tell you they're definitely going to hear from me. It's going to mean more if they hear from you. What I'm asking you all to do today, and Dr. Joseph and members of the board, is put pressure on these council members. We have our Mayor Briley, who has said that he's very committed to education and education funding. Put pressure on him. Make sure he lives up to those statements, and make sure we fully fund our schools and our teachers and our kids. And I want to say, just on sort of a personal note here, we've heard several speakers talking about the quality of pre-K and MNPS. My daughter went through pre-K and MNPS. Hopefully my son will be there in the fall. I suspect you're going to hear more from folks in line here. We could not have had a better experience. We absolutely loved it. If my daughter could have stayed in that pre-K classroom her whole career, we would have done it. It was great. You heard about the solutions and conflict resolution. We still use that at home. We talk about solutions. That's something that sticks, and it's something that's valuable. I want to make sure that it's an experience that everyone in the district can have, and that we are not cutting funds from one place to put them to another place, but we're expanding it for everyone. So thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Lamont Friars.
Dr. Joseph, to the board, my name is Lamont Friars. I'm speaking on Whites Creek basketball, Coach Battle. Alumni 1991 of Whites Creek High School. Basketball is more than a game. I'm not here because Coach Battle's team is winning. I'm here because he's producing winners. 4 years before he got to the school, there were kids couldn't even make it to half of the semester because they was flunking out. They were selling drugs, getting caught, having court dates, theft, not even coming to school. But once Coach Battle took over, I went to Principal Bailey. I said, you got the right man for the job. I coached under him with his AAU team, Team Nashville. Not because he was a winning history in AAU, but because he had the same standards as Coach Sam Ridley, who coached me, had. He spoke to these kids that first year, and he said to those kids, he said, this is an extracurricular activity. In order to do this extracurricular activity, you have to get your grades right, don't get in trouble at home, don't get in trouble at school. If you're running with some kids that are knuckleheads, get away from them because you will not play this game. And he stuck to that because when he took over the team, he inherited some of those knuckleheads. But because he actually stuck to his standards, that first year was kind of rocky, but he set that tone to where he stuck by his word. And then since then, kids are not flunking out of school. Kids are hanging around Coach, looking at him as a role model. Kids who've never been out of Nashville, they're traveling to St. Louis for a tournament. They're getting that brotherhood together. He's a role model for, in some of the inner cities, we don't have. I don't know what's going to happen or what's been going on. I can't speak on what happened. I wasn't there. But what I do know is the integrity of Coach Battle. I can speak on that. For the 10 years I was around him, under him, 5 years coaching with Team Nashville, never had a run-in. I always made sure these kids had a standard. If we don't have someone when they're away from their parents, if we don't have somebody that can stand for these kids and they can respect them, then we're losing out. It's time that he will have these kids stay after school. They have a game on a Friday night. They get out of school at 2:30, 3 o'clock. Stay up after school. I'll feed you. Why? Because if they go home, they might get in trouble with the knuckleheads that they maybe still run with. But he protected these boys. The games that he have not been there, guess what they won? I'm not here for winning. I'm here for the winners that he has produced, the coaching staff that he has produced. I'm here because he's my friend, and I wouldn't speak no otherwise. Coach really always told us if we do things the right way, things will come out the right way. So what I feel is that to have him on the sideline with his boys, if they lose the first round, he's there. Why? Because he's there with the winners that he produced. Y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Christine Pulley.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Joseph. I'm Christine Pulley, and I'm a public school parent of students at both Dan Mills Elementary and Ross Early Learning Center. I'm here tonight regarding removal of access to high-quality pre-K programming at the early learning centers through the implementation of the sliding scale tuition. On a summer day nearly 4 years ago, I entered Ross Early Learning Center for a tour. Despite the fact that the classrooms were unfurnished and there was little to tour, the administration and staff's passion for young people showed through loud and clear. We embraced the opportunity to send our just-turned 4-year-old eldest child to this new program. The school year did not disappoint. The play-based curriculum that offered focus also on social-emotional learning was just what our son needed to prepare for kindergarten. He has flourished, and we attribute this in large part to Ross. Our daughter returns this year, and we feel strongly that she will share the benefits experienced by her brother. Additionally, her participation in this program has allowed for early detection and intervention in both speech and vision issues that likely would have been unaddressed until kindergarten otherwise. Looking back at the start of the ELCs in 2014, MNPS presented this as a first step towards offering high-quality pre-K programming to all children who wanted it by 2018. As recently as the last mayoral race, our former mayor supported the expansion of quality pre-K, and I certainly hope and believe that Mayor Briley would echo the sentiment. I understand that grants have expired, but my confusion is why the need for an alternative funding source would have come as a surprise to us, and the last-minute change to ELC programming only weeks before the application period was to begin. Over the last 4 years, we've seen our neighbors embrace this program. The sliding scale fees will hinder access for many families across Davidson County. Those who earn too much to qualify for no fee but do not earn enough to comfortably pay the tuition, not including an additional cost this year of $35 a week for before and after care, will be left behind. Further, the socioeconomic diversity of our schools will suffer consequences of seeing middle-income families unable to access this quality programming. I realize that our funding is a challenge and we have many concerns for the upcoming year, but I believe that funding pre-K is paramount to preparing students for a strong start in school and would go even further to say that it's a great introduction for parents to the MNPS program and that they will continue to enroll in other MNPS schools after being in this program. I still have one child who's 2 years away from eligibility to attend Ross Early Learning Center. When I look at the sliding scale, I know this would be a large stretch for my family. I hope that the school board would approve a budget that includes access to quality pre-K for all and welcome input as a parent and pre-K advocate that I can work towards a positive outcome for next year and years to come. Thank you.
Latoya Landers, or I'm sorry, Diane Brown. Diane Brown.
Good evening, school board. As a parent and a grandparent of Whites Creek High School cluster, I have witnessed Mr. Battle mentor, teach our kids in a positive way. As an administrator, all the students look up to him. Please ask any student. I have been an active member of the Whites Creek community since 1986. I cannot begin to tell you the difference it has been for Coach Battle as a leader. So you say you want to become the fast improvement urban school district in the country? You can accomplish this by supporting the Whites Creek cluster, which has been failed in many years. You can do this with a role model and a leader like Coach Battle. Being a grandparent and a current Whites Creek High School student, my granddaughter plays on the White Creek basketball team. Now, our season have not been great, and we did not win very many games. Our coaching has not been stellar, but through these struggles, We as parents have never approached or attempted to assault the coach. We have never attempted to enter the locker room. We remain in the stands and respect the school employees. Now, what are you probably going to do to know this? But the atmosphere of the basketball games have been exciting, also hostile. However, we have stayed for every boys' basketball game for the past 3 years. Because of the level of respect, integrity, and performance of the team coach, it is a great experience to watch Coach battle in action. The basketball team alone has transformed the learning environment of the Whites Creek High School. In the night of the incident, when the very ruly parent assaulted Coach Battle, I stayed after the game to wait for the stands to clear. Out of nowhere, I witnessed this parent approach the boys' locker room, and a swarm of other parents followed quickly behind him in chaos. At that moment, I feared for the basketball team and the coaches. We did not know in the spectator stands could have a gun or what he was doing. As you all have probably heard at this point, the coach was assaulted and was forced to protect himself to remove himself from the situation. How in the world would the coach receive any consequences for this? Maybe you all don't understand because you don't attend any of our school events to experience the work of Coach Battle and his utmost professionalism in all situations. I have witnessed the level of respect he has shown and instilled in his students, athlete on and off the court. We are here tonight to support Coach Battle and continue to do so. He has gained the support of our community. I look forward to see his immediate return as a leader, administrator, and a coach of Whites Creek High School.
Latoya Landers.
Good evening. I'm Latoya Landers. I'm here as a parent with my daughter, Sky Jones, who is a former student of Whites Creek High School. We are here in support of Coach Battle. He is a great role model and respectful leader to the students and to his players at Whites Creek. He provides a safety climate and culture at Whites Creek, and I feel that it is very important that he gets back to what he was paid to do, to be the instructional leader, to be the model, to be the supporter, to be the confidant of the students, and that they respect. Most of the students do not have him as a principal, but those that don't, they go to him to give their thoughts, they share their feelings. He creates climate control for those kids, and they feel supported and protected with Coach Battle.
Thank you. Angela Ponder? Oh.
Yes. I personally work with Coach Battle at Whites Creek High School. He's always helped me when I'm in drama. He helped me feel safe. He made sure that there was no physical altercation coming out in the hallway when he sees me. So that's basically, he's always there for me. Like if anyone has anything to say to him, you can just talk to him about anything. He will help you. He's always be there for you. He'll ask you how your day's going. He checks up on anyone. He's making sure everyone's safe. He makes sure, I never, want to go to school, really. I don't really want to go. But when I know he's there, I'm going to go. Because I know that he's going to make sure I'm okay. I know he's going to make sure that I don't have any issues with the teachers. I can just use him and talk to him about anything. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela Ponder?
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Joseph. My name is Angela Ponder, and I come before you tonight to express my grievances about the still outstanding decision regarding Coach Carlton Battle. I'm a proud alumna of Whites Creek High School, and I'm well aware of the positive influence Mr. Battle has had on the students at the school. I believe his character speaks for itself, so I struggle to understand why it is taking so long to provide us with answers as to why his suspension has not been lifted. I understand the incident that occurred on February 16th was the reason behind the suspension, but why has the investigation taken so long? Mr. Battle was assaulted and was well within his legal rights to defend himself. The right of self-defense is the right of people to use reasonable force for the purpose of defending one's own life or the lives of others, and in this case, your students. Mr. Battle was attacked by a man who had become angry and belligerent, and it concerns me that he and his team were not safe that night. It concerns me that no one was there to stand guard at the door of the locker room and prevent this incident from even happening. Who was responsible for providing the safety and welfare of your faculty member and your students? What was the consequence for the man who assaulted Mr. Battle? Has that situation been dealt with, or has this been addressed as only a one-sided incident? From the outside looking in, it appears that Mr. Battle is the only one who is being disciplined, and for an incident that he had no control over. This man attacked your staff member and placed the safety of your students in jeopardy. A physical offense with no consequence is completely unacceptable, and we need answers. We are depending on you to make a strong statement and stand in solidarity with Mr. Battle, with your students, faculty, and staff, and with the community in which you serve. We need him back. Thank you for your time.
Kristen Battle.
Good evening, Dr. Joseph and board members. As a 15-year employee of Metro Nashville Public Schools, I would like to address my concerns about employee safety, employee support, and the theme of distrust in the district. For employee safety, when was the last time any of you all were struck, hit, assaulted in the face while you were at work? After a game, as you've heard, a parent walked a long distance across the gym. I was there, announcing his intent to go to the locker room to do harm, ranting about having a gun. That's when chaos pursued. Multiple people began to follow him. The coach stood between your Metro students and this aggressive parent. The coach, he endured multiple assaults before he decided to protect himself. He then immediately removed himself from the situation. As his parent aggressively continued to pursue him, your employee. The MNPS workplace violence statement states that it does not tolerate violence against its employees, such as causing physical injury, making threatening remarks, aggressive hostile behavior that creates reasonable fear or injury to another person or subjects another individual to emotional distress. The parent caused all of those instances. Was this parent prosecuted? No. This parent has been allowed to attend MNPS games, and your employee was told to stay away. More transparency and support is needed. If a parent is angry with me, an employee of 15 years, and chooses to approach me and strikes me, I will protect myself and any students that are in my presence. If I were assaulted by a parent and placed on leave, how will you support me? Is it common to not have anything in writing? Another concern as an employee is not trusting my employer. As a former executive's parting words included, there's a level of distrust in this district. Sound familiar? What story is this district being told? What story are they going with through this investigation? Starting the night of the incident, the initial investigation, witness statements were being twisted, and the perpetrator has been giving different accounts of this incident. Is someone behind the scenes prolonging this process? Was someone expecting, hoping for this team to lose without their coach? But guess what? They continue to win the important games, and they are now about to face the third year in a row the state tournament this week. Some of you may not be sports people, but this is bigger than basketball. Coach Battle has been a life coach for many, as you've heard. The night of this incident, the team had a tough loss. He accepted the defeat, was uplifting his team when this madman came in to tear down everything that they had been building. I asked for you to return him as being their mentor, their leader this week on the sidelines. I ask you again, when was the last time you were struck, hit, or assaulted in the face while you were at work? And I need you all to support me as an employee and all the other employees that are here every day working hard, trying to protect your students without guns.
Kimberly Powell. Kimberly Powell. Kimberly Powell.
Good evening. I am Kimberly Powell. I'm also an alumni of Whites Creek High School, a proud supporter of the school, all the activities that goes on there. And Coach Battle is a personal friend. I met him probably about 15 years ago when he and my husband started coaching AAU basketball. Again, just like she said, this right here is bigger than basketball. I want to talk to you a little bit about Coach Battle's character, okay? So in coaching AAU basketball, some of you may not know, but AAU basketball is a very expensive sport to play, okay? If you're not sponsored by Nike or Adidas, Who pays for it? The parents. But guess what? Coach Battle didn't want to put that burden on the parents because a lot of the parents cannot afford that. So what does he do? He pays out of his pocket to make sure these kids can travel around the country, be seen by recruiters, and get college scholarships. There are so many kids right now that are in college right now 100% because of Coach Battle, okay? Coach Battle teaches these kids life lessons on and off of the court, okay? You can even go to some of his current players right now. They've been disciplined by Coach Battle. They've even been put out off of the team because of things that they did either in the classroom or out of the classroom. But guess what? They're here right now. Why? Kids want to be disciplined. They need to be disciplined. The parents of these kids support Coach Battle, okay? So I just want to say, last year, Coach Battle, it's not even just about the basketball team. He said at Whites Creek High School, these females are out of control. He said, Kim, can you please get some of your sorority sisters and come to the school and talk to them? I was in the same seats of these young ladies. So it's not just about basketball with them, okay? I have 2 small children in Metro Public School right now. They absolutely look up to this man, okay? Coach Battle is their hero. And in a year where Metro Public Schools has lost over 1,500 students, where they're going to private school or charter schools, we need people like Coach Battle in these schools so that we can retain and get more of these students back. If we're not letting Coach Battles be in the school systems, I'm sorry, but it's just going to continue to go down. So I hope that you all will seriously, consider what we are saying. It's not just because he's a personal friend, but the passion that he has for these students and for his community that we all work and live. I live in North Nashville. He lives in North Nashville. That is our community, and all we want to do is see it progress for the city. I'm going to tell you one story, and then we'll get to the next one. I graduated almost 20 years ago from Whites Creek High School. We've only lost 3 classmates, okay? He showed me a current yearbook of Whites Creek and pointed to one page. He said, guess what? This student has died. This student has been arrested. This student dropped out. And that was one page of the yearbook. That concerned him so much. And he said, we've got to do better. My time is up. Thank you.
Patricia Young.
Good evening, Dr. Joseph and members of the school board. I first want to thank each and every one of you for the opportunity to speak here this evening. The subject I would like to address is very important to me as a concerned community member of the Whites Creek High School community. I'm very concerned about the issue of the assault of the Whites Creek High School basketball coach that took place at East Magnet School during the district tournament on February 16th. I was there in attendance. A parent in a mad rage somehow was allowed to make it to the locker room where the Whites Creek boys were meeting after the game. The coaches, the basketball boys, the trainer were where they were supposed to be. This parent had no right to be there. He was instructed by one of the coaches to wait until the meeting was over and then he could talk to Coach Battle. He refused. The other coach stepped in front of him to keep him from proceeding further in the rage that he was in. This uncontrollable man jumped over this coach and assaulted Coach Battle. In self-defense, Coach Battle was forced to defend himself in order to stop the assault. Coach Battle's concerns were for himself and the athletes he was responsible for. He immediately gathered the basketball boys to get them out of the locker room to their parents. The raging parent left at some point to go outside to his car and at some point exposed a gun to one of the other devoted parent and said, I should have taken care of Coach Battle when he walked past me with the basketball boys. To this day, no one has said, where was security? We know that there was no security on the steps that led down to that locker room. How did this parent get to the coach? What was he so mad about that he would put all of these people in danger? Did he not care about the outcome of a situation like this? I'm shocked. I'm bewildered. I'm afraid, and just do not know what has become of our community. Since nothing has been resolved to support the coach, I am left feeling that I should not continue to support MNPS. I know that East Magnet School had a fight at another basketball game 2 weeks before this incident. That, to me, should have been a reminder to the security team to have bigger numbers on hand for a district basketball team. The security should have been instructed to stay on their post until everyone was out of the building. This obviously did not happen. So now, here's the question. Why is Coach Battle paying the price for something that was out of his control? He has been out for almost a month. He has missed his daily duties inside the building of Whites Creek. He has missed coaching basketball games that he and the team has worked for all season long. He has been banned from the school as though he is a criminal. Has anyone called to make sure he is okay from the assault? No concern for this Metro educator. Why no transparency?
Thank you.
No answers. What are we going to do? We want our coach back on duty now.
Mr. Wilson, Powers.
Dr. Joseph and other distinguished members of the board. I'm here on behalf of Coach Battle. My name is Ty Wilson. I'm the boys basketball coach at Maplewood High School. Coach Battle has been an adversary when we're competing against one another, but also a friend. And one of the things that came to mind when I was looking at this situation, I thought about a saying that said, the greatest of a man is not in how much wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positive. He has really affected these guys positive. We've done community service together. I've witnessed with my own eyes him taking money out of his own pocket to feed those guys. And he does it every year. We talk probably 2 or 3 times a week, and we talk more than just about basketball. We talk about family. We talk about those guys and their home life and their situation. Some of them don't have fathers or mothers or role models. He's been that for them. He's really been that for them. I can't speak on the incident or the isolated incident that happened at night, but I know him as far as his integrity and who he is. He's a stand-up guy. He's a guy who give you a shirt off his back. And I know that because I've been around him enough to know that. We've been knowing each other for over, I would say, 15 years. And it's not been one time that I wouldn't stand up for a guy that I know would stand up for me. And I know that, and I've seen it. The last thing I want to say is Billy Graham said this, that he made a statement that said, a coach will impact a person's life, more people in 1 year than most people will impact in their entire life. And I've seen that in the course of his coaching. I've seen that as a man and individual. So I'm here to just support Coach Battle in this situation. Thanks.
Thank you. Carl Brown.
Hello, my name is Carl Brown, and good evening, Dr. Joseph and the board. I'm here just to reiterating some of what had just been said. Coach Battle, I've known him since the day he was born. That's been over 40 years. He has not changed in that time period. He's always been there for each and every one person that he come in contact with. Helped a lot of people and continue to do that today. I'm sure he will continue down the road. A couple of things I want to touch on. I just want to say one thing. I'm extremely interested in learning of the security protocol for faculty and coaches at school district supported sporting events and others. A question I ask myself, why is there no security? Why would there not be any security within close proximity of the coaches, faculties, and the students after a game? And what about their safety? You know, when they get confronted or attacked at a school event, do you take it or do you let it ride or protect yourself, your students, and your players? Understand, you only have 1 second, a split second, to choose what you're going to do. I would think there are boundaries and rules set up for all parents and fans to help curtail such. But as we as parents and fans can abide by the rules and regulations laid out by the school district supporting events, we can all enjoy some great activities without concern. We must do a better job protecting our faculty and coaches at such events. We cannot have people harming our faculty and coaches, as this sets a bad precedent for our students. Another question I would ask myself is of the mentors of our students. Any way you look at it, a faculty member, a principal, a teacher, or a coach, are the closest thing to a great mentor that most kids will ever have in their lifetime. When you take a great community leader, teacher, coach, and mentor out of the life of a student, not such great other things will take place. Then we all fail, and nothing good has come out of it at all. So, in short, we got to make sure that we continue in a short amount of time or somehow or another. We need to cover things, get the evidence items in, find out what really happened. We need to get our leaders, our strong leaders, our mentors back into the school system. If not, everything continue to just filter down. I had an opportunity to speak to a couple students from Whites Creek High School over the past couple weeks, and their feedback to me was, school is not just the same. It's not like it was before Coach Battle left out. They feel, as you heard a young lady say a few minutes ago, they feel so much more comfortable when Coach Battle is in the school building than not. They need to be there. Thank you.
Thank you. Wesley Roberts.
Good evening. I'll be brief. Thank you for listening to all of us. And I'm also changing topics. I appeared before you a year and a half ago to ask for a statement of academic freedom. As a result of that, I became part of the PECA team, so I was on the collaborative conferencing group. I just want you to know that we all worked really hard. We took about a year to hammer out the details. We bargained with your representatives, and we all came to a memorandum of understanding. I consider that to be a covenant, and I hope that you do too. And so what I'm asking tonight is, let's don't delay. We finished the memorandum 5 months ago, and we're still waiting for approval. So we need it now. And in fact, we haven't had a contract in over 6 years. It's time to do that. So please, whatever it takes, we'll be there. If you need us to do something, tell us what it is. We want our memorandum of understanding with you, and we need it right away. Thank you.
Thank you. Amanda Kale.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board and Dr. Joseph. My name is Amanda Kale, and I am an MNPS teacher. I'm here because I have some questions about something I read on our website. We believe in equitable access and opportunities for all students, regardless of where they come from, and we believe all students benefit from excellent, high-quality instruction and high expectations in every subject and in every classroom across the district. Those guiding values will shape the 2018-2019 operating budget proposal currently in development. How does taking Title I funding from poor schools to give extra to really poor schools equal equity? How will students in the nearly 50 schools losing Title I funding benefit from this budget? How does where they come from not work against the students in this situation? How will keeping teachers' salaries low lead to excellent, high-quality instruction? Currently, it takes 10 years for an MNPS teacher with a master's degree to make $50,000. Teachers in Memphis hit that mark in 6 years. In Birmingham, Alabama, 5 years. Will our current salary schedule retain the excellent, high-quality instructors all the parents in this room want for their kids? How will chronic teacher shortages in poor schools reduce discipline incidents? How will forcing principals to reassign large numbers of staff lead to the trust and cooperation employees need in order to teach every child? How will anything in the district happen without the people to do the work? How will anything in this budget convince more parents to send kids to our schools? Please know that the people in this room are committed to going to both City Council and the state legislature to help you fight for the education funding Nashville's kids deserve. But we need to see the values you champion reflected in the budget you are presenting. We need to see funding for all schools currently identified as Title I protected. We can cut testing, we can cut IFL units, other prepackaged curriculum that we really don't need. We need to see ratifying our MOU that promises 5% raises, increases exception pay, and increased PD pay as a step towards recruiting and retaining the professionals who will realize your position. A house without the workers to build and maintain it is just some plans. When we see workers factored into the cost of what you're proposing, that's when we all will know that we finally have a plan that will produce the results you are seeking, and you will never have more loyal support to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol Burden.
Good evening. My name is Carol Burden, and I currently teach at Stanford Montessori. I have taught for 28 years, and this year I will complete my 22nd year with MNPS. I'm speaking to the board for the first time because I see a dire need for change. There are 3 areas I would like to plead on behalf of the MNPS teachers. Number 1, we need the MOU. This puts us all on the same page and gives back to the teachers the confidence in our district. Number 2, we need a raise of at least 5% across the board. We have not had a raise in 10 years, which is causing teachers to either move out of the county, switch counties for employment, or both. Number 3, we need to raise the PD rate to pay to our daily rate and the exception pay from $25 to $45. If you as a board can meet these requests, you will reap the benefits of a happy and productive workforce that in turn will produce a future community of happy and productive citizens of Nashville. By honoring these 3 requests, you as a board and Nashville as a city will be working with teachers to change the can-nots to cans, the impossible to possible. I leave you with a line from a song written by David Staten called Together We Can. I can't do it alone, but together we can. Thank you.
Amy Leslie.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Joseph. My name is Amy Leslie, and I work at McMurray Middle School. And tonight I am breaking my 27-year streak of avoiding speaking in public to adults on camera. But when I heard the ratification of the Memorandum of Understanding had been delayed yet again, I knew it was time to leave the safety of the crowd and speak up. I read the rules for addressing the board and noted that we should not repeat things others had already said. Well, that may happen. But as a student once commented about me on a website my coworkers and I found called grademyteacher.com, she's a good teacher, but she has this horrible Southern accent that you can never unhear. So this evening, I would like to speak to you from my 27 years of working for MNPS, and I hope that even you cannot unhear my plea for funding the 5% salary increase for teachers when it comes to making those decisions. I've had so many wonderful experiences working in Metro, but not too many of those experiences have involved making more money. If I hadn't received national board certification in 2012 and worked numerous after-school and summer program positions, then my salary would have been about the same for the past 12 years. Despite that fact, I have stayed, and I am always proud to say I'm a Metro Nashville public school teacher, and that I have a 2011 Hume Fogg graduate and will soon have a Hillsborough High School graduate. So you got me. I'm not going anywhere, like so many other of our young, talented teachers. I will retire from MNPS, but since I'm a veteran teacher, those young, talented teachers often seek counsel from me, so I'm paying attention. I can either use my special voice to say to them, I understand it's a lot of stress and responsibility, and it's not enough money. You're right. You can maybe find something better. Or I can say what I really want to say. Just wait. Things are changing for the better. We just got a 5% salary increase. Our school board values our students. Our school board values us. Keep doing what you love. We can all make this work. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ray Smith.
Good evening, board member, Dr. Joseph. My name is Ray. I can't say enough about Carlton Belton, Coach Belton. You've already heard it all. But what I can say is I don't have enough time to say what I feel and the type person that Carter Belton is. But I want to ask you all something. We have two obligations, and that is to take care of our family and take care of our home. That locker room in White Creek, that is Carter Belton, that is his home. Those players is his family. It is unjust for someone to walk in your home and tell you how to raise your home and your family. You're not going to tolerate it. Coach Belton is a good person. And if you don't know him, you need to get to know him. It is a blessing for Metro to have such of a person of that character. It is a blessing for White Creek to have a person of that character. He is a wonderful person. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Dr. Joseph, members. I'm here as an Aiken parent tonight to express concerns about two issues that together reveal serious concerns about the district. The principal selection process, our second in 2 successive academic years, and the budget. This was a tough week for me as both an Aiken alumnus and Aiken parent. When confronted with a 2-hour weather delay, our daughter in first grade confided that she does not like school. When asked why, she responded, because we mostly sit in one room and just do work. As someone whose love of learning was forged at Aiken, I'm troubled by this, especially since it's a sharp change from kindergarten, when she was sad about winter break because she wouldn't get to go to school. Sadly, some of this change can be traced to decisions made by people in this room, including a new homework mandate. Aiken, a K-4 school, is now down to 15 minutes of recess for children. You all have a lot of impact on individual schools and how our students perceive the process of learning. Last year, several Aiken parents and a few faculty participated in a district-led principal selection process. They recommended a candidate to Dr. Joseph, who determined that this finalist likelihood of a medium to long-term commitment to Aiken and Metro schools was insufficient. He appointed Dr. Nelson, then a central office administrator, instead. Well, Dr. Nelson just left Aiken in the middle of the academic year to relocate to Florida with his spouse, not even completing a single full academic year. Yesterday evening, the same administrator who explained the process to us last year came to Aiken again, gave the same overview of the process as was given last year, and asserted it will be very similar. Why, after the process failed our community so badly, should we reinvest? Shouldn't we be introspective about why the process failed and look to adjust it in ways that might prevent similar failure? Even worse, a small group of Aiken parents, including some previous panelists, had met directly with Dr. Joseph to express our concerns and discuss potential changes to the process. Those suggestions had clearly not been discussed internally by last night. We are not interested in wasting time participating in a process where our input does not actually guide our school to a better future. I'm here to encourage this administration to work more closely with its school communities as it works to ensure high-quality school leadership for all schools. Now let's talk about equity and budgeting. Aiken is among the most diverse schools in the state of Tennessee. Aiken's diversity is in fact one of the reasons our family selected Aiken as our top choice during open enrollment. Aiken is also an IB pathway school. Last year, Aiken outpaced the district and the state in every tested subject and grade. How is the district rewarding this performance? By reducing projected enrollment and by extension our budget. We are set to lose a kindergarten teacher, a first grade teacher, a related arts teacher, a reading interventionist, and a family engagement specialist, over 33 students, and no one can tell us why. Aiken, which has had a wait list for the past several years. Aiken, where if our charge were to go recruit families to save important faculty and staff positions, we would and could. We're left with the sense that what we're about to lose has nothing to do with enrollment. If there's a school in the district that understands, supports, and embraces the related values of diversity and equity, it's Aiken. What we don't understand is the lack of transparency. What we don't understand is how a central office that is cutting funding to schools absorbs fully a third of the budget while steadily adding positions among its own ranks. So I'm also here to encourage this board to ask tough questions. Enrollment is dropping in Metro schools. Are you trying to attract families or discourage them? Thank you.
Abby Humphrey.
Good evening. My name is Abby Humphrey, and this is my 4th year as a parent at Aiken, my 2nd year as the PTO co-president. In our time at the PTO, we have worked very hard to maintain consistency in our community, despite our challenges with 5 principals in the past 7 years. In our research advocating for Aiken, given the new challenge this year with hiring a new principal as well as the budget cuts, we've met with several district leaders as well as community members, PAC our cluster pack, other parents at other schools. And during this process, I've realized that there's a little bit of a misconception about Aiken. And so I just wanted to highlight some of our successes despite all of these challenges. At Aiken, we say Aiken gives you the world. We proudly represent and celebrate all of our differences through our IB approach. We represent families from all over Nashville and all over the world. We represent over 40 countries, speaking over 20 languages. We have 2 Blue Ribbon teachers in 2016 and 18. Our 10 Ready recent 2017 scores for math, ELA, and science, all scores exceeded Davidson County and Tennessee. All of our students exceeded the Davidson County and Tennessee percent that met standards. Our discipline referrals, which is a huge success, in my opinion. From 2013 and 14, we had over 800 discipline referrals. 2017 to 18 is at 47. Upwards of 90% decrease just in January and February of this year. That is thanks to the hard work and dedication of our community, our administrators, our faculty, and staff. Our positive behavior interventions that we have introduced as well. We have over 100 AART Encore students at our school, and we've also have over 100 IEPs. The goal for all students in the 2017 school year was to exceed at least 2 reading levels, and all students exceeded that. Our goal for this year is 4 reading levels, and I'm confident that we are going to achieve that goal this year. I also wanted to just highlight that as passionate advocates for all students, we know and realize what's capable under our roof, and hope that despite all of these changes, that you could imagine what could be possible if we could have consistent leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie Webb.
Good evening, Chair, Dr. Joseph, and board members. I'm actually Kim Dismuke speaking in place of Carrie Webb. I'm an Aiken parent as well as PTO Vice President. I want to speak to my participation on last year's principal panel selection committee for Aiken. I want to start by saying how honored I was to be chosen and how I felt it was worth the sacrifice of me taking a full day off of work, which is not easy for me at all. I was hopeful and I trusted the process. I participated from the survey, which went into the questions all the way through. I knew going into the panel that the panel's vote might not be followed or that the person we chose might not be selected, but I was disappointed when that happened. I tried to be positive and to accept the principal that was appointed to Aiken by the district. We were told that possibly unlike the candidate who received the top vote, that this person would commit to Aiken for the long haul and would be a great fit. That principal decided to leave Aiken after about 6 months into the school year, leaving Aiken in a very difficult and unstable position. As a parent and panel participant, I was shocked, sad, and angry. I know Aiken isn't the only school currently searching for a new principal, and we were reminded of that last night when we met with district leadership, who I'm very happy and grateful met with us and answered or tried to answer tough questions. But I do think that we are in a unique situation in that we lost our principal last year and the district appointed a principal who abandoned our school. I understand that he did it for personal reasons and I do not begrudge him, but I feel like the process needs to be different this time. I know that there has to be a process and that more than likely it will be the panel, but we ask that you consider changing the format. Could it possibly not be an all-day process, as that excludes many who want to participate? Could you please screen the applicants better before they go before the panel, so that this time the panel's vote may stand? Can we possibly have a community forum with the top 3 candidates? We understand that the Aiken community might not be able to select the principal, but at least we would feel more a part of the process, as we do not feel that way right now. This will be my child's 3rd principal at Aiken, and she is a 3rd grader. A parent suggested last night that MNPS conduct better exit interviews when principals leave, maybe finding out what the challenges are so that we can get ahead of this and have solutions. There also needs to be more support from the district for our principal. I want to thank Dr. Hammond, who I have to honestly say I thought was in a new position and found out that he actually was replacing someone. I see him more often than I think I saw the previous, and I appreciate the support that he gives, but we need more. Thank you for listening to me, and please consider making this process a little bit better than the last so that we can have a principal who stays at Aiken. Good night.
Laura Benton.
Good evening, Dr. Joseph, members of the board. I'm here today to request that you not only ratify the memo of understanding, I'm Laura Benton, by the way, District 9, teaching and working there, living there too. We need it funded. I know we're underfunded, but we're here to fight with you, not against you. The fact remains we have a teacher shortage now. We can't attract and retain as it is. How are we going to fill those positions that are absolutely needed for next year if we haven't been able to do so this year with this income? Less expensive, lesser qualified hires are not the solution. MNEA is committed to supporting you at the Metro Council and at the state level, as we have said and reiterated time and time again tonight. And inspired by the folks who were speaking about reading recovery, I am the music teacher at Cockrell, but for the last year, I have been assigned to team teach ELA with first grade for an hour and a half every morning, become extremely attached to my students. I think I work harder planning for that because it's a daily lesson than what I am able to even give to my music students because I am so committed to making sure our students are literate. You cannot take that program away from them. My students are moving up all the time. I have to keep resetting the schedule for rotations. We cannot keep it set because they keep moving up, and it's because of reading recovery. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie Harris. Stephanie Harris.
Good afternoon, Dr. Joseph and school board members. I come before you this evening as a concerned MNPS parent and community member. You have heard from many supporters of Coach Battle this evening. We are finding it very hard to understand why one of the best administrators, coaches, and mentors to students in this school district is not being supported given the details of this situation. To be quite frank, it's pretty distressful process with a lack of transparency as to why he has not returned to date. You would think that you all would care more about our kids than to have them continue to endure unnecessary anxiety for an unfortunate event that they witness as student athletes. With the recent school shooting incidents happening around the country, students, teachers, and families are already on edge. And then right here in our own district, we have an armed parent assault a coach, and he not be supported for standing up to protect his students, himself and those around him for enduring any hurt, harm, and danger. Our coach took the position to defend himself and remove himself from a very dangerous situation, although the parent continued to aggressively pursue him. We actually thought the parent had a gun, which did prove to be true. Anyone who was there could tell you all this. You know, our teachers, staff members, and administrators have family, too, that they would like to return home to on a daily basis. Unfortunately, we have emailed and called our district of schools, chief of schools, and district HR leads, and have yet to receive even a simple acknowledgement of our inquiries. The lack of professionalism and support in this situation has been mind-boggling. We as a community continue to stand in support of Coach Battle and our team. Our boys deserve the best. Since they have not been afforded the best over the last several weeks, I question you as a board and district leaders. Do you really support our kids? Our leader and coach has been out for the last 3 weeks and has missed 5 games. Despite this, our boys have continued to persevere in the classroom and on the court in support of their coach. They have advanced to the state championship for the 3rd year in a row, and you all are failing our kids by not allowing their leader to be with them. Are you all wanting or waiting for our kids to lose? If so, shame on you, as that is not the role of what I would like to acknowledge as my director or school board representatives. We look forward to the immediate return of our great leader and coach. Support Coach Battle and any other employee who protects our students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine Bowers.
Good evening, Sean. I'll call you Dr. Joseph. I had to say that because you know, thank you for a year ago supporting me in my Hall of Fame efforts. But nevertheless, thank you, Metro Council, for taking this time with all 12 of us on behalf of speaking the goodness of Coach Battle. I didn't say my name, but that doesn't matter. I am the PTSA president of Whites Creek. This was our first year ever having a PTSA since 20 years ago. But Coach Battle, along with the late, great, legendary Coach Sam Smith, and I had great aspirations to bring back all that had been lost over the years since I've graduated in '82, because Whites Creek once was a great institution for our community. So after speaking to Coach Smith before he passed away, I said, Coach, we have come over the last 3 years a long journey if it wasn't for Coach Battle. These are the successes that has happened since Coach Battle has taken in my son, Isaiah Bowers, who is a senior this year and the captain of Whites Creek's team and the number 12. And I said we pretty much are honored to be the 12th person to come up here and share our story. But Coach Smith said, look, you're making plans to take your child in 2015. This is what he said. You're making plans to take your child to Hillsborough, I hear. And I said, yes, because I really have given up on Whites Creek. Even though that's my alumni, I really have given up because I just didn't find anybody there that could really relate to where I wanted to send my son to be safe and to get a great education. He said, what are you talking about? You are from that. And I said, well, let me know how I can win in this. He said, well, I got my boy there. That's Carlton Battle. And I said, oh, really? I don't know Carlton. He said, go and see Carlton. And you know, when I had my opportunity to see Coach Carlton Battle, he said, look, Ms. Bowers, this is what it is. Life is bigger than basketball. I take kids in and I treat them as my own so they can get them the education, get them a scholarship, even if it's basketball or if it's just a scholarship in going to school. And I said, Coach Battle, you got me. I want you to speak to my son, and I want you to inspire him just like you have inspired me. And whatever you need, let me support you on those efforts, because I want to come back to my home where I got all the mentoring just like you're sharing with me. So look like my time is about gone, but I want Isaiah to just say a few words, because we have lost in the last 4 weeks a great coach to take my son to the next level. He's looking into going to school on a scholarship. And what else, Isaiah, you like to say as the captain?
Coach Battle, he brought me in as a son. Basketball is not what he focuses on. He focuses on life, and he has taught me so much as a player and a student at Whites Creek.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public participation tonight. We will be moving on to governance issues. Ms. Spearing.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Okay.
Me. Just as a point of order here, I apologize, but my name is Council Lady Brenda Haywood of the 3rd District, and I just want to speak just a couple of, not even 2 minutes, 1 minute, on behalf of Coach Battle. Everything that has been said here tonight, I would just like to reaffirm and echo it. There are very few educators of the level that I would highly regard Coach Battle. I just want you to know that kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I also want to say that my grandson is a basketball player on Whites Creek's high school team. And when I asked him his thoughts regarding Coach Battle, he said, all I can say is, have you seen the movie Coach Carter? He said that Coach Battle is a Coach Carter. He teaches the whole person, and he loves the whole person. And if we lose Coach Battle, we've lost a gem. So I'm just here to echo everything that everyone else has said. Thank you so much.
Okay, Ms. Brogan, then Ms. Pierce.
I'd just like to pull a thermal balance. It's
Okay. 1A, yeah.
The consent agenda reads as follows. 1B, recommended approval of change order number 1 for Creve Hall Elementary School additions, Orion Building Corporation. C, awarding of purchases and contracts, 1 Belmont University, 2 Cumberland International Trucks Incorporated, 3 Mid-South Bus Center, Inc., and 4 Unico Technology. Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Okay. I have a second. A motion, please use our iPads to vote, please. Will you let Deborah know? Will you let Deborah know? Okay. Okay, the consent agenda passes unanimously. You want to talk about?
Yes, I just want a little more information on the thermal balance contract. I was not, it wasn't clear to me what the contract is for and what the maximum amount will be for the contract.
It's a IDIQ contract, one of our indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. Whenever we need a, in this particular case, a contractor to come in and do the balancing of our HVAC systems, we hire that person without having to go to bid, and then we ask for the prices from them for that particular project. It's a procedural matter to hire them that way.
How much would we pay for the contract?
It's on an hourly rate and specific items that we would include in that course of work.
So is there a maximum amount? Usually we have, it'll say up to a certain dollar amount. Is there a maximum amount that we pay, or?
Let me rewrite this and we'll bring it back to the board to make
Okay.
sure it happens properly and put a number in there. We can do that, certainly.
Okay, that would be great.
We can do that.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. All right, we have a small agenda adjustment tonight, and because we have a public hearing coming up on our budget, we're going to postpone the strategic plan update for HR. Oh, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Ms. Spearing.
Thank you. I'm bringing a resolution tonight to amend letter grading of Tennessee Public Schools. This was a resolution that was recently passed by the Johnson City Schools Board of Education. And CLASS, our coalition of large school systems, supports this resolution. So I'll go ahead and read it. I think it's self-explanatory. Whereas Metro Nashville Public Schools Board of Education is the local governmental body responsible for providing a public education to the students in Nashville, Tennessee, and whereas the state of Tennessee, by March 2016 legislative approval and signature of Governor Bill Haslam of House Bill 155 and Senate Bill 300, has directed the Tennessee Department of Education to develop a grading system for assigning letter grades A through F from the state report on the state report card for Tennessee Public Schools, implementation of which begins this 2017-18 school year. And whereas based on the draft accountability protocol released by the Department of Education, the complexity of the grading system has the great potential to mislead and confuse the public. And whereas numerous community members are concerned that giving letter grades for schools in the same city will cause division in the community, and whereas in 2017 the House voted to approve House Bill 449 to amend previous legislation to assign an overall performance label which aligns to the district's determination rather than a letter grade. And whereas the Tennessee Department of Education, working in partnership with Tennessee's LEAs, has the capacity to monitor and measure multiple indicators of meaningful learning. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Metro Nashville Public Schools Board of Education hereby urges the Tennessee General Assembly Senate Education Committee to amend legislation mandating the assignment of letter grades to Tennessee public schools and instead refine the state report card to more accurately depict learning performance and student learning growth. Madam Chair, I move to approve the resolution to amend letter grading of Tennessee public schools as read.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and vote. The resolution passes with one person not present. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Spearing. Like I said, we will postpone the HR update, and the only thing I have in a board chair report is this announcement. The HR and support services sections of our newly revised policies for the school board will be posted on the MNPS website this coming Monday, March the 19th through Friday, March the 30th for public comment. So if you want to review those policy revisions and make comment, you can do so on the MNPS website. With announcements? We are, yes, we are. Any announcements, Ms. Vogt?
Yes, I just want to congratulate all of the Blue Ribbon teachers in our district and extend a special congratulations to the Blue Ribbon teachers in my area, Deborah Gomez at H.T. Hill Middle, Reagan Halliburton at Westmead Elementary, Gary Hook at Nashville Big Picture High School, Courtney Waters at Westmead Elementary, and Allison Wilhelm at Gower Elementary. And I would also like request that we have a board discussion about the lead in water in the near future. Thank you.
Mr. Pixon?
Just want to say something I said earlier in the afternoon during the Budget Committee hearing. A lot of new people are in the room. I know there's a lot of concerns out there about this proposed budget, but let's not lose sight of the fact, all of us, that this is a chronically underfunded school system, okay? Let's all row together to figure out how to fix that. We'll see you in the budget hearing in a few minutes.
Thank you. I had the opportunity to visit and participate in the Maplewood Project Lit with Jeremiah this week, and the students were reading the novel March. It's a graphic novel, and it was interesting to hear the kids talk about how difficult it is to read a graphic novel. Sometimes we think that comic books are a little easier to read, but they also have a certain genre that sometimes is difficult. The thought-provoking questions were well organized, and the students responded to those in a beautiful way. It was exhilarating to see these students excited about learning. And it's amazing the number of books the students have read this year. Thank you.
Ms. Hunter?
Yes, I'd like to announce that, I want to read Ben Franklin's 13 Moral Virtues, just really quickly. I'm going to do that. Temperance, eat not to dullness, drink not to elevation, silence, speak not but what may benefit others of yourself, avoid trifling conversation, order, let all your things have their places, let each part of your business have its time. Resolution, resolve to perform what you ought, perform without fail what you resolve. Frugality, make no expense but to do good to others at yourself, waste nothing. Industry, lose no time, be always employed in something useful, cut off all unnecessary actions. Sincerity, use no hurtful deceit, think innocently and justly, and if you speak, speak accordingly. Justice, wrong none by doing injuries or omitting the benefits that are your duty. Moderation, avoid extremes, forbear resenting injuries so much as you think they deserve. Cleanliness, tolerate no uncleanliness in body, clothes, or habituation. Tranquility, be not disturbed at trifles or at accidents common or unavoidable. Chastity, rarely used venery, but for health or offspring. Never to dullness, weakness, or the injury of your own or others' peace or reputation. Humility, imitate Jesus or Socrates or whoever you believe in higher order. And with that said, also, I plan to bring forth a resolution to end or to regarding gun violence in our schools at our next board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any announcements for upcoming meetings, but do want to thank the Hillsborough Cluster PAC for a really engaged and thoughtful discussion last week. I know a lot of the budget things have raised a lot of questions. I appreciate your patience and my response times and just reaching out, and I've met a lot of new people in our district, and so we look forward to hearing from you later.
Thank you. I have one announcement. I'm going to piggyback off of Ms. Fogg's announcement. I think of the Blue Ribbon teachers. We will have a Blue Ribbon teacher reception this coming Monday, the 19th, from 5:30 to 7 at the Vanderbilt Chancellor's Residence located on 211 Deer Park Drive. I would encourage all my colleagues to attend, and we got email invitations around that, so if you want to attend, please reply to that. Ms. Parrish, you want to close this out?
Being there no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
So we will take a very short break so we can, get up and walk around. Yes, 5 minutes, and then we'll be right back in our places. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.